Hello and welcome to podcast 27. It's been a couple weeks, but we've all been busier than shit because we're all dorks and we don't manage our time well.
Yeah,
That and it's a busy time right now. Just the world is.
and life's just hard.
Always. It's fun though. So, yeah. How's everyone doing today?
Um,
What were the
I'm alive.
things we had to do? We had to get it on
That
our
counts.
headphones.
Really? We're alive?
We got a variety of things to talk about here on podcast 27 because since last podcast, we have played in a rugby tournament. Joe and I played, Marcus watched. Max didn't quite make it down, unfortunately. We watched Apocalypse Now today.
Most of y'all did.
Max has Jesus that got
Yes. No.
assigned to his working group.
Very specifically, God, not necessarily
more-
Jesus. Unless you believe in the Nicene
Physical.
Creed.
But so we got that in the Olympics. Don't want the athletes to have sex. The Japanese are
Huh?
scared of fun, apparently.
The Japanese don't want anyone to have sex.
Only tentacles allowed.
What? Hentai?
For Marcus mostly, but for the uninitiated, the Japanese Olympic Village, they made beds out of cardboard so that they're really slick and easy and there's less waste, but they also designed them such that if you had too much weight on the bed, it will collapse. And more than one person will collapse the bed. So they're trying to make it so the Olympians don't have sex in those beds. Which, if you also don't know, is something that the Olympians usually do a bunch of.
It's rampant.
That's cool.
Right? They get after it.
Make a lot of superhuman babies.
Right?
I mean, that's what we want,
what
right?
everyone's- Right. We want the best to be better. We don't need performing enhancing drugs. We need to give them beds that can support
Yeah.
their antics.
How does
Eugenics.
a shot putter sleep at night then?
That was
I
my
don't-
question.
They seem pretty sturdy.
Yeah.
There was a video of somebody that was like I don't know if these are supposed to break down, but they were jumping on it.
Yeah, there's no way that would break. There's no way they would break with two people. Maybe
Yeah.
two females, or a male and a female sumo wrestler, or the
don't think
forwards
sumo's
for
a
the
good
female
sport.
rugby's players, but
Yeah. At that point, though, you're probably using more than one bed, so it's probably
Yeah.
fine. It's just funny that they design these beds to be anti-sex.
I bet they're cheap though, and I bet
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
they're all
real reason.
cardboard.
And I bet that's the real reason that they're going with them.
Oh, absolutely. Then I bet they can pack them down and give them away and stuff afterwards.
Can you imagine
I just feel like it's very environmentally conscious.
sleep on the bed of
Like,
champions?
reuse it.
Eat your Wheaties,
That'd be a-
buy an Olympic bed.
How much is
You
it?
think the bed itself
$7.
is comfortable?
Three
Well, it's a
fifty.
normal mattress. It's a nice mattress. It's just the bed frame.
Yeah. It's really funny because if they wanted to have sex, they could just drag the bed on the floor, or just do it on the floor,
Yeah.
or in the air.
Countertop. Yeah. Anywhere. Car.
Do it like
There are
birds, so they
many,
just jump into
many
the air.
ways around it.
God, nothing.
On a police
Nothing on the
vehicle.
bird sex reference.
No.
Keegan has
But-
raccoon calendars, I see.
Yeah, I've had that up for a long time.
Guess if you don't pay attention.
It's cute. Raccoons are fun.
I almost hit one the other day.
Oh,
Yeah, where were we driving?
Oh, I was
We
coming
were driving somewhere the other day and we saw 14 dead raccoons in a 1 hour stretch.
Jesus.
It's raccoon
Sad.
genocide.
Raccoons.
That is sad.
Yes.
I saw a raccoon last night when I was hunting a coyote that was attacking my family's ducks.
That sounds like a really involved story.
Should get some nods.
It was not very exciting. I sat in the loft of my barn in the dark, and nothing happened until I heard a bunch of little raccoon noises, and I thought, "Oh, what is that right there?" Turned the flashlight. There's a raccoon standing on its hind legs.
Did you shoot
Watched
the
him
raccoon?
walk up to a tree. No, that's Hamesley. It's a
Named.
raccoon that I have named that lives near my house and apparently is a mother of 2.
Cute.
Shan Wick.
Max, do you want to tell us about your enlightened compatriot,
I mean,
companion, acquaintance?
I can say a little bit. It's not the best situation. But
Speak in pretty general terms.
we had a dude. Had some issues. Decided to solve those issues with probably some form of synthetic hallucinogen. And it didn't go well for him. And now he believes that he is God. But at this point, he might just be faking it. We're still... The jury's still out. Because
But he's in too deep at this point.
yeah, this happened before, and the last time it actually happened, like, he was, like, immediately taken and put in a psych ward and actually monitored and stuff, and this time, the people that were around him last time are like, this is nothing like the last time, so, who knows?
Maybe he actually is God.
That thought came up because we have to have a suicide watch on him, so he's monitored every single minute of his life. Like he's not allowed in a room with it by himself with the door closed. But the thought came up whenever I was on watch last night, and like, what if he actually is God? Because this is about the reaction you would expect if he actually inhabited a human. But nah, he's just crazy.
Yeah, I feel like if there was a second coming, they would have to do something to prove that they were.
Jesus had to
rather than
prove
just-
it.
Right.
He had to perform all the miracles he did and shit.
Yeah.
Like, bitch walked
feel
on
like it.
water.
And you would just do crazy shit.
I would just make all
Turn
water
all
into
this-
wine. Just every single drop of
All
water
the
in the
snow
world.
in Alaska into wine.
Just like walk up to somebody and be like, all of your water, it's wine now.
It's just like-
die.
You remember that episode of Futurama where they make the mini benders and they get down to like the subatomic level and they transform all water on Earth into alcohol? I would do that, but with wine. There's no more water on Earth, and I just want to see what happens.
All the water in everyone's body, instantly wine.
I'm a fair but benign god.
We die drunk at least.
What about all the water that's already in wine? Like wine is like 80% water or whatever.
I turn that into wine.
So then is it still technically wine because wine has like X amount of...
But I turn that water into wine.
It's a perfect system.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go clean this dead bug off my hand.
Congratulations on killing a bug in this house. Marcus is very skilled at killing bugs in our apartment.
Pays to be a
The
winner.
other night, there was a very large moth flying around in our living room,
Yeah.
Mothman?
and it landed above the curtain. And I pointed at it. I was like, Marcus, look at that big old motherfucker. He looks at it, and he says, watch this. Goes around the corner, gets the fly swatter. I can't remember what he yelled. But he yelled something, and bam! Giant smushed mark on the wall that stood there for a week until I went and cleaned it up for him.
1 for 1.
And the fucking moth just fell onto me. And I could not find it.
That's gross.
Marcus is good at leaving stains on the wall with his defeated enemies. We do that with spiders quite a bit.
I feel like he leaves a lot of stains on a lot of things.
That would be Marcus.
Yeah, we have to get him new bed sheets every week.
Huh?
Old ones are too crusty.
You talking about me?
And your penchant for peeing yourself.
What? No, I
I think
Max,
by
did you-
now we would have a bulk order of yellow bed sheets.
Oh,
Max, did we tell you about the rugby tournament yet?
No.
Did you want to hear about that?
Sure.
So, I got asked a couple months ago by Kale, who was the president for Eau Claire. I think you would recognize him, but after we graduated out, we became like buddies. I was like, oh, well, you should help me organize a team for Pigfest. We'll play as the Great Danes. And so we start this group chat, and it's like, oh, we got like 7 guys that are in. And so I start asking around, and pretty soon we got 15 guys. But then everyone wants to bring their buddy, and then the word got out that we had a hot team. So then we walked up to the tournament with like 30 fucking guys. It's a tense tournament. So we start game 1, and I walk up, and we got like 20 guys on the sideline. The other team has 12 guys total. And I tell everybody, and like Joe can confirm, he was one of these guys. I was like, if you get tired at all, get out. It's rolling subs. We have unlimited subs all day. At least in pool play. We might as well run 80 subs. We're just constantly on and off. And so we were just kind of dicking down on teams because they would get tired. We would roll 5 new guys in that were fresh, and we just run all over them. And so pool play was pretty fun. Only got hit in the nuts once. We had a great time.
That sounds like fun.
Keegan
And then
even
we ended
We
up
saw
making it. Yep.
Keegan.
Max. Not Max, I have Marcus.
Oh, the Platteville guy who looks like Max.
Guy who looks like Max.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh,
see
yeah.
him?
I did see him. There was a couple giant motherfuckers, but there was somebody who looked exactly like Max.
I'm tiny now.
I'm not.
Just
But so we made it into. We won our first 3. So we played lacrosse in the first round of, like, the playoffs,
The semifinals.
the semifinals. And we found out very quickly that we did not have rolling subs anymore. So we, like, played lacrosse, beat them with no issue, had 1 extra sub. So we get to the finals. We're playing Cedar Rapids, Iowa, the Headhunters. And they were really good. And we ended up losing to that by a try. It was back and forth all game. We managed our subs well, but we had an injury that we didn't account for. So that kind of fucked us over.
And a weird sub. Somebody came off when we didn't want them off.
Right.
what a pussy. You should sacrifice him.
But
Just crucify him.
it was, we were up by 1 point, 22-21, going into the last play. And we kicked off to them. They got it out to the edge. And they ended up fucking running around one of our, like, locks. At a wing versus a lock on the edge on a really wide field. They went and scored 1. Pissed. But the total score differential was 151 points to 52. So I outscored everyone 3-1.
It's not too bad.
Keegan scored a try even.
That's what I
Yes,
was
I did.
going to get at originally.
There's a first.
Actually, it's my second ever. It's my first, like against a team that wasn't mostly our guys score. Because I scored my freshman year in the alumni match, and that counted as my Zulu. But that was my first competitive try.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it was a party.
So I have a fun random
weekend.
fact. This is completely out of right field.
Do it.
I recently learned this from TikTok, so take that for what it's worth. But you know the Romans kept meticulous records of who they crucified? Like very meticulous records.
So is there like a record of Jesus getting crucified?
No, there's no record of Jesus getting crucified. Yeah.
That's not that surprising, actually.
Enlighten me.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, a whole lot, like, everything written about Jesus is, like, a generation after him, at least. And it's all written for different types of people or whatever, and it's just, like, a lot of speculation. So, but, like, how would they, okay, so, like, with the Spartacus, like, uprising stuff, like, there were, like, thousands of people crucified. I wonder how that works.
That was the other
The
thing
records.
that I got from that, or I gained from that TikTok was the Romans kind of crucified people indiscriminately, so Jesus being crucified was really nothing special.
It's just their way of doing it.
Yeah, they might as well
We
just
love
cut his head off
Crucifixion.
during the French Revolution.
I mean, 40,000 people were guillotined, so.
Hell yeah. They should have bumped those numbers up.
It was in vogue.
Would you say that the guillotine was the popular thing to do
Yeah.
in the French
Let's
Revolution?
talk about Robespierre blowing a hole in his face on attempted suicide.
Dude, fuck people that attempt suicide and don't, like, pull through.
I'm just like, how?
Oh god.
Like, you
At least
suck
warn us
so
before you
bad.
Say something like that.
You suck so bad at life that not only, like, do you actually go there, but then you fucking fail and you're using a handgun or a shotgun.
Oh,
Oh,
I got-
by the way, there's a right way to go. At least if you're. Maybe I should keep that thought to myself.
If you don't say jumping into a volcano, we're not friends anymore.
Nah, bro. You take a 240, you zip tie the trigger, you load it, and then you kick start it.
That's rough. Can we talk about something else?
Word? Oh, I was going to talk about the account of Robespierre being executed. I vaguely
Do
remember.
it.
But it was good.
Meticulous records of that.
Yeah, there was like it was talking about like how like obviously he was like insulted, and I think they removed his bandages because they like bandaged up his face, and like his whole jaw was just like hanging down and everything, like pretty painful apparently. I'm like, wow, that's pretty metal. That's what you get for fucking. That's what you get for limiting fucking bread rations and shit. You fuck.
So, Apocalypse Now.
Yes.
On a,
I was gonna do a
Lighter
transition for you right there, even Keegan.
Now,
Thank you.
the apocalypse.
right. So, Max, have you seen Apocalypse Now just like in a general sense?
Yes, I've seen it a few times.
Because like we just watched it, and not only did we just watch it, but we watched the extended version.
How long was that?
It was very long.
It is-
It's like-
96 minutes.
Yeah,
92.
even if I had time, I would not have made it through that.
It was the thing is like it felt long. I'm trying to find the exact length. I feel like Joe just gave it.
It's 196.
It was.
Yeah, 3 hours and 23 minutes. But it was really clean. It was like, did a good job restoring it, but it was super long.
Dude, that's
But
like
hold your
5
attention.
hours.
3 hours, three
That's
and a half
actually
hours.
3.
You said 300 minutes. Right?
No.
196.
109. Okay, that's. Why did I hear 300?
It's a long-ass movie, though.
Yeah. No, 196 is
Interesting.
doable.
It was good. It was definitely worth it. But holy cow, you get done watching that one, you just gotta walk around for a little bit and try and remember what it's like to be a person.
I mean, at that point, 196 minutes, you might as well just read A Heart of Darkness.
Yeah, no. That's...
No.
You could do it in the same time frame.
agree to disagree on that one.
It's like, what, 70 pages?
It's like
That's
90.
like... What's it? Yeah.
It's about 2 minutes a page. They're not big
Hey.
pages.
Some of us
If
read
you could read Heart
slow.
of Darkness at 2 minutes a page, that you are a superhero, dude.
I'm not saying you would enjoy it.
I mean, you can take your time and read it and not enjoy it. That book is terrible. It's so like mind bending. I
Fuck.
remember reading it the first time. I could read like 2 pages at a time. I just had to like sit there and like digest it for 20 minutes.
Fucking cocksuckers. Oh. Hold on. Oh yeah, bitch! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Get some! That's like 4. I just killed 4 cocksuckers right now.
I get to hear this twice. Once of him in the house, once of
Get
him
off
on
my
here.
computer.
This is
I wish I
Alright,
could hear
I'm
it twice.
Hold on. I'm gonna go wash shit off my arm now.
Why do you guys have so many bugs in your house?
because somebody likes to fall asleep with the window open.
Marcus doesn't shower.
Oh yeah!
You can't even hear us talking smack. He's just...
Yeah.
Marcus,
It's alright.
Marcus will fall asleep downstairs with the window open and then go to work while leaving the window open after I said, "Hey Marcus, Make sure you close that window, buddy. See ya. Bye.
Yeah, it seems like a
So-
Marcus thing.
Yeah. He's a lovely roommate. Little forgetful.
Little.
Just
We get
like,
to
I
ask
asked
him
him
about
to-
his newest career aspirations. Big change.
What?
I feel like we ask that after we get done through Army of Darkness.
Army
Not
of Darkness.
Why?
That's a different movie too.
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now. I apologize.
Army of Darkness is funny.
Good movie, by the way.
Yes.
What stuck with you guys the most watching Apocalypse Now? Or like Max, what do you remember?
Dun
most?
dun da 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 da.
It's no Wagner.
Yeah. I love the smell of napalm. I mean, dude, there's a lot. There's a lot that really puts it in like some really deep context whenever you take some of the actual messages of the movie, and you start to think about how a movie like that can play into today, especially whenever you start looking at it from a warfighter's perspective, a veteran's perspective, and that a lot of the issues that is plaguing the veteran community today, that just is stuff that's going untreated, like the way PTSD is handled and therapy is handled and awareness about that is handled and stuff, was stuff that a lot of our grandparents had already gone through, and that you start to see in stuff like Apocalypse Now, Rambo, a lot of movies from that time period where there are these people and there's these veterans from Vietnam warning the future generations, like, hey, like, this is, you need to expect this. Like, these are things you can expect from long, intense periods of heavy conflict. As part of, like, a greater, like, thematic part of it, because that's a very prevalent theme in the movie with Martin Sheen's character, is the toll the war has taken on him, and even finding whatever the fuck, whoever it was, the dude that went there, that like they're chasing the dude he was supposed to go get.
Kurtz.
Like, yeah, Kurtz, like him too. Like the point was supposed to be that he'd cracked from having fought so long that he went and developed, like, used his training to develop all this whole fucking mini society that was his to pretty much avoid it. And it's like he can do
Right.
whatever he wants.
Yeah.
That is not my own thought, by the way. That is a thought I am stealing from someone else, but it is, whenever it was pointed out, or like whenever I heard that and I reflected upon the movie, like that it's very apparent.
What's your big one? What about you two?
Um,
What was your standout?
I just like Kilgore, like just like how he treats things. I know like how Joe reacted to where he's like, yeah, any man who's able to like shoot at my boys while holding a bull to his stomach to keep his guts in, yeah, he can drink from my water. And then he finds out a surfer dude's there, and he just like totally just grabs the water from the guy and just like runs off to go find him, and just like,
Yeah,
that's
also
definitely
fuck First Cav,
huh?
but also
But
fuck First Cav Division,
Oh, what's your beef with them?
dude. Fuck them, fucking bitch ass fucking cavalry units and their fucking stupid ass hats and their spurs.
Dude, their hats are dope.
No, fuck
Their
them.
hats are kind of bitchy.
My
They're not riding
The cavalry
horses,
units
they're not
haven't
cavalry.
known what the fuck they
Bring the
wanted to
horses
do.
back.
They've had a fucking identity crisis since we stopped using horses. First, they were fucking mounted, then they were air assault, and now they're fucking mounted again. They can't figure out what they want to do.
Bring the
Fuck
horses
them.
back.
my
I'm game.
My
Put
Rus-
entire First Cav Division, Force Hood on horses. That'll be fun. Fuck it. Let's just see what happens. We have the budget.
my wrestling captain from my last year wrestling is a captain in the army, and he flies a Apache, and he gets to wear that hat. I'm just like, God damn it, that looks great. Oh,
These hats are stupid.
I think there's two things that I would want to take away from that movie. One is I would want to go through and really just meticulously look at the wording of what everybody says and just analyze it like really deeply, just because I feel like that would be really fun to do,
Let me guess number
especially
two.
in that.
Sorry.
Huh?
Whenever you get to number 2, let me guess it.
Okay, guess number 2. You changed my thought even.
I'm sorry. I got excited. I thought of a joke and I got excited.
Go for it.
And number 2 is Martin Sheen's karate routine in the beginning, because you feel like it can really get you in shape.
Yeah.
How would that be for a series of workout videos?
I would love
Martin
that.
Sheen from Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Did you notice when he was in Krut's camp, a guy in the background at one point doing the same karate routine?
Lance does it throughout the movie too. When he's at the front of the boat, he does it.
I think
Oh,
Lance
yeah.
was just tripping off of that one acid tab like the rest of the movie when he took it.
Lance is aggressively annoying.
I thought he was a cool character. I thought he was a good foil to Captain Willard, because Captain Willard sees the insanity in front of him and tries to manage it and be active about it. But Lance doesn't. He just accepts it and becomes part of it.
Oh,
Like when they walk into the camp, he's on his way to see Kurtz. He's asking questions and he's moving around. He's trying to find things, and Lance just ditches his clothes and becomes a villager.
yeah.
I think
Oh, go on, Joe.
that would be the second thing about that movie would be about how each of the characters could be a representation of how human beings react or handle the stresses of war. How you have Kilgore, who's just, it's a game, it's fun, it's not real life. There's
Vacation.
yeah, there's Willard, that it's broken him, but not in I'm lost my mind, but this is gonna haunt me forever, and this is gonna be a part of who I am for the rest of my being. And then there's Krutz, who is, it's broken him, but
Kurtz.
it is who he is now. It's fully he is delved into the bowels of insanity and pain and grief that war will put you through. And then the other characters on a boat are just people who haven't lost their haven't broken yet and are just trying to find the way to keep themselves human throughout the movie, throughout the conflict.
So, outside of potentially Jocko, do you guys listen to any podcasts by dudes that were Army or military in general, saw sustained combat in the last 20 years, at all?
No,
I've
unless they're on
talked
JRE.
to Vietnam vets. Oh,
Vietnam vets can be good depending on when and where they are, but specifically I bring up Iraq and Afghanistan because it's more recent. 100%, I can think of at least 2 people you have all met that were in sustained heavy conflict in Iraq or Afghanistan. But if you get a chance and if you want, there are some podcasts I know that and some people that you can look up that talk about that stuff, that have seen the pretty much the most intense level of conflict over the past 20-25 years that you could possibly imagine, as bad or worse than Vietnam. The really interesting thing is from having watched Apocalypse Now and having listened to these people talk about war, is how good of a job Apocalypse Now actually did at framing war and the characterization of war and how people are through it. It's kind of hard for me to describe right now because I just finished a workout and I'm 3 beers deep, but if you listen to the people and the people that really had intense emotional problems and PTSD and stuff towards the end of their careers and what they start talking about, you start to hear all of those people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an interesting comparison. And
it's a hell of a movie.
yeah. And it's one of those reasons that the movie is so highly like rated or highly acclaimed by so many people. You guys have any more thoughts on it?
I was like what Keegan was talking about, its connection to Heart of Darkness, and also its connection to Dante's Inferno, which both I am not super familiar with, but I was doing a little researching about into Dante's Inferno, and I can definitely see how that there are certainly aspects of Dante's Inferno. There is like each level, like starting it off at, I don't know how some of them would really fit into well, like it wouldn't be in order, but I think that most of the levels of Dante's Inferno can be seen throughout Apocalypse Now. The only one that I would struggle to perhaps put in would be Greed.
Yeah, it's tough because I don't see a direct like circle to circle comparison, but whenever I look at, and my father will probably correct us on this front because it's kind of his thing. Literature. Marcus, you have your hand up.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, no, it's not a question. I just have some comments on it. But you can go first.
Okay, so the big ones that that I remember from Heart of Darkness specifically, and you can kind of see it with Apocalypse Now in relationship to Dante's, is that they start at the city that is hell and they enter the gate. And in Heart of Darkness, there's a lot of imagery before Marlowe actually goes to the Congo. So it's a dead city. There's a lot of the specific architecture that is reminiscent of the area before entering the gates, the hell itself. It's this pre-area, and it's just very quiet, and it's this weird gatekeeper type person, and that's analogous to the beginning with Harrison Ford when they're just kind of in a normal room talking about this abject madness, and the one character that's the CIA agent or whatever is just staring the entire time. This weird, very kind of surreal. And then as you progress in through the levels, it gets more intense. And so each level is discrete but they're more intense, but it doesn't necessarily exactly line up. It's like, think of all of the spots that they stop along the river where it's like, oh, it's the air cav, it's organized, that's kind of what you're thinking, that's how it's supposed to work. But it's still brutal, it's still fucking terrible. But then as they go in, it's like, oh, this one, they get like water skis and fuel, and then at the end, like, it gets weird because the USO, the Playboy Bunnies are there, so then they have to leave. But then the next place they get is just kind of abandoned, and the people are like barking at each other, and they're fighting right away. And then they get to these further steps, and they get to that last like checkpoint or the last camp, and it's just absolute chaos. Like, the soldiers swim out with their suitcases trying to get them to take them on the boat to get them out of there. And then once they're beyond that, it's just madness. But the only way out, which is the big Dante one, is that to get out of hell, you have to go out through the bottom. And so you have to go to the devil, and you have to conquer or get past the devil, and then you go out the other side. And then that's the big one for me, at least as Dante, as it gets better. But you have to go to the absolute darkest point to get back out. And so when he gets to Kurtz is the physical, like, he is the devil in this story. He is the physical embodiment of Satan. And so Captain Willard kills him. Marlowe kills him. He dies. And then he's done. He's out. What were you going to say, Marcus?
Okay, so two things. One is, like, Dante's Inferno, which I'm going to get into in a sec, is, like, the first, like, real depiction of hell. There wasn't, like a very elaborated description of hell for Dante's Inferno. So I think that's kind of interesting because this is like 1300s. So there's quite a gap. And then I think it's weird that because it's part of the Divine Comedy, but we call it Dante's Inferno. But like I think that's weird that we call it that. Now that this just spurred in my head because it's like calling Harry Potter Joanne's Philosopher's Stone or something stupid like that. I don't know why it's not just like Inferno or just like called the Divine. Do we really need to throw Dante's like the author's name into? I don't know. I just thought that was weird.
It's the zeitgeist. It's what you call it.
What?
It's just what people call it. That's how you refer to it when you're talking about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Joe, what were you gonna say? You were starting to talk.
I think you could connect the circles of hell, because first circle is limbo, which would be Kilgore, because it's not quite hell because Kilgore brings this home family vibe, but it's not quite home because they are still at war and there is a man with his guts on a pot within a pot. So it's not quite either or not quite one or the other. You get to Lust, which is the next place they're at, which is the Playboy bunnies, because they were lustful for the bunnies. And then
That's
this is where I
okay.
start to get a little... What is the third place they reach? Because the third circle is gluttony.
That's where they like actually, because they leave. So like they leave the USO, and then they see the crash, and then they pull up on the place that has like that's like the guy barks, and that's where they trade the.
Gas.
Give me 1 second.
I
That's where they trade.
When
the
did
fuel.
When did Chef go for the mango?
That was. I don't know if that counts as gluttony.
That's what that was with the
It could be
tiger.
a stretch.
With the tiger.
Mm-hmm.
And then greed is the next one that I'm not quite sure how I would get in there, because it just, if I had like all the events like in order, I could probably like figure it out better. But then it comes wrath, which could be Clean's death, and then comes heresy, which could be Willard overstepping Chief's orders. No, because Clean was still alive before that happened. So I guess my connection isn't that great.
There's a lot of connections, so like I'm sure you could find a pretty.
I think what I was gonna say. So like with you said, did you say Purgatory was the first one?
So it's
Limbo.
Limbo.
I
Even
pulled
though
them up.
Limbo is basically Purgatory, which is where you go before your soul has been decided. I don't know. That was just a side
Neither
note.
hell nor heaven.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we're going off of, like, an older Catholic viewpoint, I believe that's how it works. Don't ask me. I'm not Catholic. So,
I think Purgatory is a different one.
is that
Yeah, I don't think Purgatory and Limbo are the same.
I have no
Purgatory is
idea.
more of
Yeah,
a religious location, and limbo is more of a general, universal kind of term.
We'll add it. We'll add it to the reading list. There's a lot
You
going
could
on.
say that
Oh!
Krutz
It's totally different.
claim for godhood for his cult could be the fraud, and then Willard's killing of this said god could be the treachery.
Yeah.
So I don't know. those are just the connections that I felt.
Okay. Sorry. To clear what I was saying up before, limbo is a place to send good people who had no chance to be baptized, or they died, such as newborn babies and people who lived BC, so before Christ. Purgatory is a temporary location for people with some sin, but not unforgivable to work them off before heaven. Okay. Sorry.
So like Max will go there because he's a virtuous pagan.
Also have not been baptized.
Really?
Gotta giggle.
Also not a good person, but
That's neither here nor there.
Gotta be there for a little longer.
so do you guys have any final thoughts on Apocalypse Now?
There's a cultural aspect about Apocalypse Now that people do a phenomenal amount of drugs and then watch it. They'll take psychedelics or heavy doses of whatever, and then they'll try and watch Apocalypse Now. And that sounds like, after sitting and just watching it, just hanging out, just like, oh, we're just gonna watch it. That would probably be like crazy. That would be wild. In some like deviant state of mind, and then to watch a movie that intense, because it's already very trippy. There's a lot of like imagery, and the music is trippy. And then if somebody was like actually tripping, I gotta imagine that'd be pretty intense.
Yeah.
That's an interesting spin-off, is that people take this already insane movie and add even another level.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I have a closing question for y'all. It's a two-part
And what is
question
that?
with Apocalypse Now.
So Apocalypse Now is obviously, even Hard Darkness is very much a war story.
Mhm.
Like, that's not the overall theme, but very clearly the narrative is impossible without intense conflict. And the easiest way for most people to imagine conflict in our world is through some sort of war. Apocalypse Now came out a number of years after Vietnam and is mostly related to Vietnam. So, do you think there'll be an Apocalypse Now type movie to make it made out of the conflict in Afghanistan now that we're
Yes.
in a number of years? And how well do you think that movie will be received? Do you think it'll receive the same level of, like, and I know part of it's like based on like production quality and acting and stuff, but a general theme of that movie, do you think it would be received as well or poorly or much better than Apocalypse Now?
I don't know, because with Apocalypse Now and Heart of Darkness, the central, like one of the major points and like plot devices is that it's on the river. Like, it follows the river. It is the journey up the river into madness.
There's a lot of valleys in Afghanistan you can walk up.
I was gonna say mountains.
Like-
Yeah.
But it's not the same, like, if you were walking, like, if you were, like, if they were, like, in a Jeep, maybe. But, like, I don't think it carries the same weight if you're on foot.
I think there's the I think
they
the
would have to be in,
narrative's
like,
still
some
there.
sort of Jeep.
I
Yeah,
think
I
there's
think so.
yeah, I think there's still the ability for that same narrative to be there. It would just have to be different.
Yeah, it would have to be. But that's a big one for me, is they would have to get creative.
Ooh.
And they would have to interface with that in some way.
So
Remember, Afghanistan's a. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's a huge,
Yeah.
big.
So what you could do is, I think, where's Baghdad? Baghdad is off the Tigris. It's off the
No,
river. What is it? Tigris is off. Oh,
it's not the Tigris. That's like because the crossroads of the Tigris and Euphrates is in Iraq, and I'm pretty sure the Tigris mostly goes through Iran before it makes the fucking. No,
Yeah, I'm looking at a map right now, and I'm not really seeing it.
there's a
no,
big
the
one.
Tigris does not go through Afghanistan. So if you're going to
Big river in Pakistan.
do it in Afghanistan, probably the way to do it is there's a lot of very, very, very large mountain valleys. And you'd want to be like, hey, there's this old fort from Alexander the Great. that some
Hey.
dude's held up in.
Yeah, that would how it would have to be. Right. Marcus, just pull it up on your computer and share your screen. We have the
God
technology.
damn it! Oh my god, you're right. I don't know. Why didn't you?
I think that this, speaking of purely of the movie itself, it would not be as good simply because of the mode of transportation throughout the film would be changed, and I think that by having it in Afghanistan it would be a lot more difficult to have it have the same sense of this traveling up this mysterious and unknown into unknown, although it can still be done in Afghanistan. It would be a lot more difficult to have the same like narrative. I mean, not narrative, but like the environment in the narration of it. If you catch my drift.
No.
I think the river carries a lot of weight. I think
The-
it could be done, but
I don't think it would be as good.
No,
No,
nothing
I think
will be
I think it'd be
good.
hard because you're taking a movie that's like one of the foundations of modern American film and trying to like recreate it or create a similar product based off of the same type of story or like a modern retelling.
It's
Yeah.
it's an AFI top
'cause
100.
even
So
I would be interested in a remake of it.
Still in Vietnam.
I think in like a similar remake, but not the exact. I think that could be interesting, and I would be very, very interested in watching it and examining it.
I think they would have to go back to the source material. I think if they're gonna do it, you shouldn't make another Apocalypse Now.
No.
Like you shouldn't take Apocalypse Now and just put it somewhere else. You should go back to Heart of Darkness and make a new,
colonialism.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Talk about colonialism.
It'd be interesting to see though.
Another theme that fits
'Cause
with
I know there's a
Afghanistan.
lot of, yeah. It's wild. But yeah. Did you have, what was your other parter? Or was that the only part?
That was the part. It was like, do you think they'll make one about Afghanistan? And if so, how well do you think it'll be received?
Mhm. I think if they could do it and they could like put the right amount of work into it, I think it'd be really good. But they would have to get creative. But that's any movie.
Yeah. Right actors, right vision, good director.
Yeah.
I think it'd be extremely criticized, and people wouldn't let it live up to
Oh,
the
no.
expectations that are set on it, even if it was good.
No.
It's hard to fill those shoes. It's probably why we haven't seen one.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie was a nightmare to make for them.
You know, it would be
Yeah.
a good way you could do it is you take either Desert Storm 1 or Desert Storm 2 and have it be about the initial invasion of Iraq.
Oh yeah.
Because
Go on. Sorry.
then you have that
do
like
it from like a convoy.
yeah, and you have that like initial push, right? You don't know what's ahead of you. You don't like the future before you lies completely unexplored, which is very much like I remember from reading Hard Darkness is he didn't know what was coming up that river at all. He had no intel. He had no idea what was up there. It fits with
Especially
that.
they
Like,
get to that second, they get to the last station, then they're like, we're just going.
yeah, give him give like a platoon size element, some sort of, or even an individual gets a task like attached to like a platoon size element or a squad size element, like a very specific objective that they have to take that pushes them farther, further, faster than the rest of the invasion, and have them be out there on the end. Well, now I'm just describing Jarhead. God damn it.
Generation Kill does that.
What movie should we watch next then? Like, so, like, I feel like we're kind of looking into this one. Like, is there a movie that you guys feel would be worth doing what we did for this one, where we all try and watch it?
Mouse Hunt.
Like, is that not? I have never heard of that movie. Is that a?
You should watch it. It is not actually worth putting this level of thought into it, but it's pretty funny. It's like a '90s comedy where some dudes try and
Oh, I
kill a
remember
mouse.
that one.
It's
I was confused. I've seen that one. I thought you were like talking like there's an Iraq movie called Mouse.
no.
But like, would it be worth doing this for like a Black Hawk Down or a Jarhead?
I got another good one that I've not seen, but I've heard it's fucking brutal. It's called Come and See. I think it's a Russian film, but it's about Operation Barbarossa, and there's war crimes and a bunch of other things in it.
I'd be down to watch another movie.
But like,
I think Jarhead would be really good to examine,
yeah,
just because it has similar notes of the psychological effects of war and the dive into insanity.
I mean, why don't we just watch Full Metal Jacket?
yeah, that works too.
Like,
It's-
if
yeah.
like if we're gonna go down that road, let's just go actually down that road. Like, trust me, I'll watch Black Hawk Down any day of the week. I love that movie. We could probably talk about it right now. I don't have to watch it, but that's not so much. I mean, it's an action movie. There's a couple of like deeper themes to that movie, but for the most part, it's an action movie.
Yeah. But we could watch Full Metal Jacket. I don't know if I've ever actually watched that front to back, like full thing.
really,
MICKEY Mick
Yeah.
MOUSE Mickey Mouse Mickey Mouse Mickey Mouse Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
Well,
I've never
I
watched.
think that's the part of Full Metal Jacket that stuck to me the most from like if there's only one thing I remember from that movie is them singing that song, and I don't know if it's because I thought it was hilarious or really strange.
Oh, that's
Or
not
it's
strange.
just-
I can promise you right now that if like that type of shit, like never been to war, never had to do any of that type of stuff, but just the amount of stupid bullshit that you just grow increasingly numb to because it's just in a daily occurrence, so you just don't question it anymore. It's just part of your life. You get bored, and you just start doing more stupid shit and just stuff like that. It's like 100% can see that happening. I could totally see being on patrol after an intense ass firefight with the world burning down around me, like singing some fucking stupid ass TikTok song.
Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away.
I don't know how many other people know Styx. They're all like 19, 20 years old.
Everyone knows Styx. Everyone knows Come Sail Away. It's the best song ever made.
It's not bad.
Wait, one thing
It's
I want
got
to throw out
aliens
there.
in it.
How interested would you be to see a spin-off of Kilgore's Air Cavalry
I don't know.
and their journey through Vietnam?
I feel like he's such an intense character that it would kind of become Black Hawk Downey, where it's like, oh, it's an action movie. Because Kilgore is so hyper extreme that he's a joke of himself. Like he's the epitome of all the things that Willard and Kurt see as like wrong with the war. Because like Willard and Kurt see it as like they're the old breed, and they are mad at people that go on tours, which was a sentiment at the end of the war too. That like, oh, you go to and from the war. Like there was a lot of people that thought that when you go to war, you stay at war until it's done. Because when you go to and from, it breaks it up, and then it's not so bad. But that's the point, is that it is the worst thing imaginable. And so Kilgore and Willard are from this one where it's like, war is war. We should be eating cold rice, squatting in a bush. And Kilgore is trying to bring out steaks and beer and listen to music and treat everyone like it's just on vacation. And so I don't know. I don't think that. I think you could have fun with it, but I don't think it would be as nearly as impactful.
It would be a like 5-season CBS show.
Yeah.
CBS.
I don't see there being more than when I think about Kilgore, I don't see there being any more content of him other than what was in that movie already, just because of it would be just the same thing over. It'd just be the same writing in and exploding everything possible for an hour-long movie.
That sounds like an awesome
And
fucking
then
movie.
searching for his surfboard.
Yeah. It's a hell of a movie. Now I want to reread Heart of Darkness, but I got like 14 freaking books on my stack. I gotta read first.
Welcome to my life. You actually probably read like more and faster.
Do you boys know the Canterbury Tales?
Sounds familiar.
I haven't.
I've read like excerpts of some of them.
It's a story about a traveling party to Canterbury
It's that guy.
of a bunch of. I thought it was a traveling party and they shared their tales
There's a lot.
on their way to.
There's a lot of books like that from like the medieval ages. What the fuck is it? There's one where they're stuck together in some kind of confined setting, and they take care of a bunch of stories. It's like Plutarch.
Last connection to Heart of Darkness for Apocalypse Now, and this will be a good way to end talking about this one. Sorry to interrupt, but we're gonna finish this thought. So when you read Heart of Darkness, the intro, it doesn't open in like Marlowe's story. They are sitting on a ship, and Marlowe is telling the story to another group of 3 unnamed characters. But it's Marlowe's retelling of the story is the story. But at the end, which you don't see in the movie, at the end of the movie, you hear Kurtz go, the horror, and then it just kind of fades out. But in the book, Kurtz and Marlowe are going back and forth, and when Kurtz dies, his last words are, the horror, like the movie, but then it's not over. Marlowe goes back and finds Kurtz's wife, or female companion, and she thinks that he is totally enamored with her, and that he was going to come back. So she's distraught at his death, and so Marlowe has to decide whether he tells her his last words that he did not care about her whatsoever, because he didn't, or does he lie to her? And in the end, he tells her that his last words were not this existential crisis, but were in fact like, tell her I love her, or was her name. And that's how it ends. And so like that's an interesting twist as well, is that this entire thing, like, it ends in this giant lie, which they talk about in the movie how much they hate lies. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's Plutarch.
I did read that book, Dad. I proved it. We talked about it years later. Now Patrick is gonna giggle and be like, "Yeah, he does know how to read."
Also, back to Canterbury Tales, because I'm just gonna keep redirecting everything. Have you guys seen A Knight's Tale?
Yes.
The movie? No.
Yeah. So Paul Bettany's character is Geoffrey Chaucer. I love that. He's the writer of Canterbury Tales. Explains why he's so good with words.
Very fun. But yeah, Marcus, what's
Dang.
going on in your career right now? Why is that exciting and worth talking about?
Leaving Walmart. Pursuit of better things. Yay! Hopefully, at least for the time being. Better things in the long road, no matter what. But just like by Walmart.
Hashtag
Guess you
sponsored by
started to
Target.
work at Walmart. I will take Marcus's job.
Go for it.
Do it.
You'll be micromanaged like a motherfucker. Something like.
Yeah. Any
As long as I
other?
get that Lego money. that DoorDash every day money, that buy 8 pairs of shoes in a month money, that buy how many rugby jerseys money, that waste all my money on really stupid things.
Fuck you, bro.
Money
Fuck you. I
that
have a
we buy
401k.
$100. We buys $100 of books, tells me 5 minutes later, I bought like $40 worth of books right before that.
That's like what? 2 books? 1 book?
Hey, in my defense, I do have a 401k, or I did have a 401k. So I've made
He's investing in knowledge.
I've made $500 off of $1,100 put in so far. So happy about that.
It counts.
Sounds like he's invested in Bitcoin.
It
Dogecoin.
does sound like it. Fuck you.
All right, lads. I'm gonna get going because gotta get up
All right.
early tomorrow. So
Have a good night, guys.
later, gents.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope that you guys have a wonderful night and you had fun listening to our ramblings about a crazy movie. But yeah, Max, you want to take it out?
Yeah, I don't really have the energy for it, so just fuck you.
Fuck you and your mom.
Okay, bye.
Sorry if you're a Springboks
Dislike,
fan.
unsubscribe, and leave a mean comment on somebody else's podcast. Thank
There it
you.
is.
Preferably Jaga.